Uh, what's good, YouTube fam? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing, man? My name is Milton Craig Spence III, aka Creator Milt. The reason I created that name is because, number one, it was inspired by my father, who's now passed away, and I wanted to have that name in order to represent myself, and not just myself, but just the number 8. That number is significant to me. I shared it in a TikTok post earlier this week. That number is significant to me because it is the number that I wore in high school. I was a quarterback in high school. It's the number I wore there. But it also represents the age I was when my father, Milton Craig Spence Jr., passed away. And for now and forever, I will always represent that number because that's the day my life changed forever. Now, the reason I'm making this video is to make it for those who are dreamers, to make it for those who are going after goals and visions. I mean, you guys are dreamers. You guys have something you want to go after, right? So if you didn't, you wouldn't click the video, right? Or you maybe just support me. For both of those, I say thank you, and let's go along for the ride. There's no necessary structure to the video. We're just going to talk based upon a real place, a place that I am, a place that I was, and a place that I will be. Forever a dreamer, right? Because I think in order to be a great dreamer, you have to be able to go beyond the pale and go beyond what you really want to do and go beyond anything that's holding you back or pushing you down. I have to say that because there's so many of us out here right now who have all of these dreams, but technically speaking, you have all this know-how, you just don't have the do, right? Or if you do have the do, how do you keep yourself going? How do you keep yourself pursuing the dream? How do you know when the dream is realized? How do you know when that is just a part of the dream that you have that's the grander scheme? So I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself in order to draw parallels to these things in order to give some type of, to hone in, right? I am the type of person that I will sit on an idea forever and ever and ever, and that idea will grow and grow and grow until I don't necessarily recognize the idea anymore. I will sit on an idea to the point where it feels as if I am either lying to myself or I am genuinely like, I don't wanna do it. Most of the time, it's neither one of those. It is the fact that I'm just not getting up to do it. I'm not getting up to do it. I'm not getting up to pursue it. Coming out here, setting up this camera and talking into this microphone, talking to y'all is a part of the dream, but it's not everything. It is a challenge to myself to come out here and do it. Why? Because I have so many things pushing and pulling at me at any given time. And most of the times, the things that push and pull at me are things within myself. I promise you, it's things within myself. I'm like constantly pushing and pulling myself to do everything and to go everywhere and to be everywhere and to be for everybody and to do for everything. But most of the time, it's because I'm doing that to myself. I wonder if I ever took the approach of just doing what I know or doing what comes to me, not necessarily just an instinct, but in the necessary or necessity of survival and in the necessity of doing what I instinctively want to do. Sometimes you ever realize like you don't follow your instincts, you don't like follow what is pulling at you, and you find yourself constantly in a position of like, man, dang, man, like I don't really know what to do, so I'm gonna just not do anything. I'm gonna just not do nothing. I find myself there all the time. Sometimes, like, I have all of these visions of stuff I want to do, and I just sit on my hands, man. If you're that way, if you're that type of person, man, then I beg of you, like, get outside your comfort zone, that comfort zone of not doing what you're supposed to do. Because I promise you this, your comfort zone is not in, or is technically, or really in, what you're meant to do. That's where you will find the most comfort, you'll find the most peace. Where you believe you find comfort is actually where you find restraint. Like if you just sitting down on your hands, if you're not doing what you called to do or doing what you meant to do, that is where I notice like you find restraint versus comfort. Because I'm not comfortable when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, right? If I'm choosing laziness or choosing depression or choosing anything else to keep me away from what I really, really want to do, I know those things and only those things will keep me down. Now, as I go throughout this video, I've been sharing, but I'm gonna continue to share with you guys videos that I've taken and photographs I've taken. The reason I'm making this video is because I recently just was accepted back to my PhD program at Kaiser University. And with me being accepted back into that program, I have to say, like, I'm excited, But at the same time, I'm nervous. And the reason is because like think about this, right? In my mind, I got all these things like that could tell me that I could fail, right? But I have like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 things that tell me I won't fail. And I'm choosing to believe in the 1, 2, or 3 things versus the 20 other things that's constantly knocking at my mind, telling me like I could fail or I could not have. I also have passion for photography, videography. I also have passion for football. You know, I love playing football, American football, that is, for those who need to distinguish. But I love playing that game. Like growing up, man, like that's all I did. Would I like to be in a coaching capacity? I don't know, man. The birds fighting. I just know that I would love to be around the game in some form or fashion. I don't know how, I don't know when, and I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I know I love that game. But this right here, this camera right here that I have, everything that I have to display like my passions or the joys, you know, I utilize in order to help me to get into what I really love and what I really want to do. I do want to do this as a business, but I also want to finish school, and I also want to make money, and I also want to be a good dad, and I also want to be a great father. It's like I push and pull, man. So like as a dreamer, as somebody has all these things and may have a slight bit of ADHD, I don't know, but as a dreamer who has all these things in their brain, how do I hone in? And I really think I came up with an answer after all the time of thought. And this is probably gonna get you to click off the video. But literally, man, it's the Nike logo, man. It's the just do it, right? Because there's so many things in my life that I have done that I have failed at. And when I think about those failures, or lessons, if you will, when I think about the failures or lessons, it really hits me where those things that I did, those things that I went through at that time were lessons and blessings at the same time, where I learned a hell of a lot, not just about myself, but just about everything in general. And it always like cascaded onto the next thing. So I always ended up like using that lesson to take me to another lesson and to another lesson and another lesson and another lesson. Like, you know, guys, I felt like in my life that I was a failure. I felt that way. I felt down and out, and I felt like I ain't got much to go for me. I don't have much. But as I look back, I realized where I used those things, where I felt like that failure, the things that I failed at, and I've used them to get me to certain places and do certain things. Like I've used those things, and I can't lie. Like the more that I allow those things to weigh me down, or I have allowed those things to weigh me down, instead of recognizing them as a blessing, instead of jumping out in there and just doing it, even with the things weighing on me, right? Pushing through, pulling through. It's like Will Smith said this one time. He said, and I know he got it from somewhere else, but he had jumped out of a plane for the first time. He was scared of heights. And he said, on the other side of fear is your victory. On the other side of fear is your dreams. And I realized like you sometimes have to do it scared. Sometimes you have to do it quivering, or like with a stomach full of your stomach in knots. Like you got to do it. I've realized that. And there's a big phase in this life right now for me that like I am afraid to not do what I'm meant to do. Like I really am selling out to what I'm meant to do. And the reason I'm going that path, especially now in my life, because man, I've lost a lot. And if you're like me, and if you lost people in your life, people around you have passed away, you start to realize like they left here too, or sometimes they left here too without accomplishing what they really wanted to do. Do you want to be like that? Like, do you really want to be like that? I don't, man. I don't. This is a real off the cuff conversation. I ain't got nothing to sell y'all except for the fact of joy or peace. And I can't even sell that to you. I wish I could bottle it up and sell it. I'd make a good killing off of it. But reality is like, I'm not this man where I can't go throughout life without making mistakes, right? Like I'm gonna make mistakes. I know that. But I want to make mistakes. I like genuinely want to screw up at something. I genuinely want to make mistakes. Just going after what I'm meant to do and going after the things that are pulling at me that have moral grounds. I think it has a lot more to do where you settle your feet and doing the things you're called to do versus going after the things that you ain't got no business doing, where you know you ain't got no business doing. Number one, I know all of us struggle with it. It's laziness, man. Like, discipline, consistency are definitely a thing, but so is laziness, right? Like, there's people who are like 100% disciplined, and then there's people who are 100% lazy. So it's like a middle ground, a constant fight. And I always say, on the other end of your laziness too is where you find your victory, is where you find your purpose and who you're meant to be. And my prayer in my life consistently is that God help me recognize and do the things I'm called to do, so that I'm not out here selling myself short from where I could be. You feel me? Like, I don't want to not be where I'm supposed to be, and I don't want you to be where you're not supposed to be. I want you to think about in your life the things that you've let slip by, the people who you didn't interact with out of fear, where those people could have been somebody you interacted with out of fear. Like, even in fear, you interacted with them, you talked to them, you chopped it up, and those people taught you a lesson in that moment, even if it's just for a moment or if it's for a lifetime. It's like, you really come down here to hold back for what? Like, yes, I understand money ties you, but you got to think about the root of why money ties you. Sometimes the root of why money ties you is tied to your family. It's tied to your mentality. It's tied to the things that have come from the basis of, who raised you. And you can't be tied to that no more. You can't be tied to them people. You can't be tied to them ideas. You got to get out here and actually put forth the struggle. You got to you got to jump out that plane, man. You got to face them fears, because there's nothing out here for a dreamer than to realize their dreams. And if they don't do that, then technically speaking, you just want to die, bro. You just crawling up every day and you just dying. So I'm saying this, I'm making this video. I had a purpose, but I really didn't have like a structure or a script, right? To tell you, if you're a dreamer like me, you know what I'm saying? Just do it, man. You gotta just do it. You gotta just go for it. You can't sit on your hands and be afraid. Or you can be afraid, but you still gotta do it. You feel what I'm saying? You owe it to yourself. So I will be taking y'all on the journey with me as I start this PhD program, which starts March 10th, is to finish the program. I've been in school now going on, I got accepted in 2016 and started in 2017. This is my 8th year attempting to finish my PhD. I had to stop based upon things in my life. My ex-wife passed away. I'm a father of two, throughout that time. She was then my wife, obviously, but throughout that time she was sick, stage 4 breast cancer. So school came last. School became a thing of the past for me. So I had to hone in and focus in on what my family needed over myself. And when I honed in and focused on that, school became on the back burner. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I sat there and I thought about going back to school and finishing months and months and months. And finally, it's almost like God said, I'm not gonna let you fail. And the school contacted me and asked me if I wanted to return and finalize and finish my 6 courses going into my dissertation. And I said, heck yeah. You wanna know why, man? Because I'm gonna do this thing afraid. I'm gonna do this thing without feeling like I'm going to not make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna grab that degree. And I promise you one thing, when I walk across that doggone stage, wherever it is, my camera will be with me. I will post it to my YouTube and we will celebrate together, because it's gonna be a dreamer's dream realized, a dreamer's fate, a dreamer's instinct walking across that stage the same time. And in my pursuit of in my pursuit of my PhD, I already got the master's. In the pursuit of the PhD, I will go after my dreams, my goals, and I will do it afraid. I will do it looking silly. I will do it without likes. I will do it without comments. I will constantly do it. And I hope y'all do the same thing. If you're a dreamer and you're watching this, real talk, if you're a dreamer and you're watching this, go after what is pulling at you and where you will thrive, man. That's where you find your real comfort. If it's comfort that's keeping you away from things or pushing you down, that's not comfort. That's not comfort. That is a disguise. That is something else. That is something else. It's disguised as comfort. It's not your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is in the things that you're meant to do. I've learned that. So just do it, man. Deuces.